as an entrepreneur and budding podcaster, you might find it a bit overwhelming to have to think of all the content ideas, all the titles, all the show notes, all the SEO, all the everything that goes into podcasting to optimize it and make it really, really work for you. But now with AI, there is a lot of help you can get. So I want to go through with you today how I use AI to help me and help my clients with managing their podcasts. So stick around, there's lots to learn. Hey, my name is Olivia D'Souza. I'm dedicated to helping multi-passionate entrepreneurs turn their dreams into reality by building a career and a life they love and making a positive impact in the world. I'm a podcast and social media manager, a singer-songwriter, a kids music creator, a fadishta, a wife and a mum. I'm the secret weapon behind many 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs, helping them shine a light and call in the people they are here to serve. And now I'm here to help you. This podcast is here to help you learn and be inspired. You'll learn about podcasting, lead generation, business, and all about the real life stories of people behind the businesses just like you. Think of it as a place to hang out with your like-minded business bestie who gets what it's like. So grab a cuppa and hit subscribe so we can hang out again. This is Magnetic Pod, the podcast.
I am here and I'm ready to be brave. Cannot miss me, I'll stand on every stage. I'm available for my destiny to reach my
Before we get into it, remember to hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of the tips and tricks and inspiration to help you with your business. Now, I will let you know that I have a download to go with this, so it has in it all the prompts that I use that will really help you. So check the show notes and you can download that for free. Now, when you've got a podcast, you need to make sure that you've going to have enough content ideas to last you for a year, say. Ideally, if you're doing a podcast, once a week is ultimately the best for momentum so that people get to know you and get to expect to get a podcast from you every week. However, I do also believe that what is manageable for you is also needs to be factored into that. But let's say you're planning to do a weekly podcast, then you can start with a prompt that can make sure that you've got at least 50 podcast episodes so that you know you've got enough for a whole year, and maybe you can take a couple of weeks off. So a prompt that I'd used for that would be, my podcast is about insert topic. My ideal client is insert ideal client. Their main pain point and desires are insert those details. Please list 50 episode ideas that will appeal to my ideal clients. And bang, you can get 50 episode ideas. So for me, for example, my podcast is about entrepreneurship. My ideal client is mainly, not solely, but mainly female entrepreneurs. Their pain point is that they need to consistently show up online, they're often time poor, and they need help to be able to make it a lot more manageable and effective and to drive leads. Please list 50 episode ideas that would appeal to this kind of a person. Now, this gives you so many great ideas that it gives you the confidence that you know that you can get started, you can batch record your first 1 or 2 months, and away you go. But I still believe that the human element is important. I still believe in going around with your lens of thinking of content ideas and to think of the things that actually happen in your life as well, because you don't want to just have a podcast that's just a generic, same as everybody else podcast with generic input that AI gives you. It's how you use AI that matters, I believe. So I think it can be incredibly valuable to give you a whole heap of ideas. And sometimes the ideas that it will give you will actually just spark you to think of something else on a slightly different tangent, or it might prompt you to say, oh, I like this idea, but I want it to be specifically for people that are in this particular situation. And you can kind of have a bit of a conversation from there with your AI and get more ideas, but it is a really quick way to get lots of really good ideas really targeted to your target audience really, really quickly. So I have that prompt in my download, and it's got inserted in there where to put your particular specific point. So you can grab that from the show notes. But like as I was saying, this is not about just handing the reins over to AI completely. Sometimes I'll think of a situation that's happened with my client or something that I'm doing for myself that's helpful. Like, for example, this particular episode is because I'm noticing that I'm using these prompts and they're really valuable and they're really helpful. So I thought, hey, I should make an episode about it. So it wasn't from an AI prompt, it was from the fact that I prompt AI. So yes, just also keep those personal ideas from your actual life in mind as well. So once you've got all those ideas, then you can pluck out the ones that you're ready to start working on and you can feed them back to AI. So you might write something like, please write a podcast script on insert episode title that it's given you or that you've changed to suit yourself. Please start with a powerful hook that will relate to a pain point or desire that relates to my ideal client. And then away you go. And then you can get show notes written. Again, it's a starting point. It can give you lots of really helpful, it can give you a great outline. It can give you great content ideas to put in your episode. But I actually think it's most valuable when it comes through your lens and your experience of what you've actually done in your life. I know that I like to share from what I know has helped people in the real world and that what I've actually done and that I can speak in an authentic way. And that also that you can include in your scripts ideas and things that happened in your life. So then there's a bit of personal touch of and storytelling woven into it, which AI can't really do for you. It can do storytelling, but it can't tell your story unless you tell it, obviously, all about yourself. But I think it's about weaving your personal touch and using AI as a tool to help your workflow go a lot faster. Okay, so the next thing that ChatGPT or an AI tool can help you with is show notes. So you can take a transcript. So there's different platforms like Otter or various ones, or some of the actual distribution. Recording a podcast like Riverside FM can give you a transcript. So you can use that transcript and you can feed it to ChatGPT or Notion AI. I use Notion sometimes as well. I have found with ChatGPT it can be kind of annoying if you put a transcript into it and it won't accept the whole thing. Although more recently, I've resubscribed because I experimented with subscribing and not. So I'm subscribed at the moment to ChatGPT, as in paying for it. And I put in a longer than usual transcript and it accepted it. So hopefully it keeps doing that. But it can be annoying that it doesn't always accept a longer transcript. And sometimes I've done part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. I've found that it does about 15 minutes worth. Is pretty safe. But then you have to say, given those 4 parts, please do the thing. So another tip that you can do if you find that annoying, ChatGPT does say, and I've played with it without much success, it says that it can also accept PDFs uploaded to it, like shared as a Dropbox link or a Google Doc. But I have found that it's gone off and written things that are not anything to do with the transcripts supplied. So I would use, if you want to be able to do it in one go and share a transcript for AI to help you with, Notion. I use Notion and it doesn't have any of those limitations. Okay, so show notes. Here's a prompt that I would use for show notes. I will caveat this by saying that for my clients, I actually listen to their whole podcast anyway, because they are paying me and they are trusting me to do the best for them, and I am not willing to trust AI to do a perfect job or to necessarily represent what they've said in the best way possible. It is a great shortcut. And especially if you've done the podcast yourself and you want to do the show notes, you will have the knowledge in your head about what's in the podcast and you'll know if what you're getting is good. But I'll make sure that I listen to it so that I know that it's covered the points that I feel are definitely important and that it's got the feel and the personality that I want in there. And also there'll be things like, for me, as doing it for clients, there'll be sometimes the podcaster will say, I'll put a link for that in the show notes or something like that. And so I have to know about that. Okay, so let's get to the prompt. The prompt I use is based on this script, because you could just give them the script that you're planning to use, and even everything will accept that because it won't be too long, right? So based on this script or transcript, depending on which way you want to go, please write the episode description for this podcast. I'll come back to the reason I said episode description. Please start with a powerful hook to instantly appeal to a pain point or desire the listener is experiencing. Please use a friendly conversational tone. Please list the main points that were covered in this episode. Here is the script, and then I'll put a colon and then enter the script or the transcript. So going back to the reason I said episode description is because sometimes when I've said, please write the show notes, it writes it like a script or does some strange thing. So if I say it's an episode description, which is basically what show notes are, then it writes something that I actually want. Sometimes it gets it right with just calling it show notes, but sometimes it gives you some other weird thing. It translates show notes as being something different to what I mean. Episode titles and tags. This is so good. Okay, so a prompt for episode titles is that, again, you can feed it your script or the transcript and say, based on this podcast transcript, please suggest attention-grabbing podcast episodes that are SEO optimized. It's so good. But then it'll give you a list to choose from, which you can either grab one of them or you can sort of pinch a bit from one of its suggestions and combine it with another suggestion to create something slightly different, but it is someone to bounce ideas off, and it's incredibly helpful, just that assistant that's always there. And then again, for tags. Now, tags are really important for optimizing for SEO, your podcast. So you can write something like this. Based on this podcast transcript or script, depending on what you've got to share, please suggest tags that help boost SEO of this podcast episode. And then I always add this line, please separate tags with commas. And here is the transcript. And then you share it. So, or you mightn't need to keep sharing the transcript if this is all happening in one conversation in ChatGPT, for example. But I added that line of please separate tags with commas because I found initially it was doing it as a list and I was having to copy and paste and then turn a list with bullet points or numbers into something separated by commas. And I went, why don't I just get AI to do it? So that one little line that doesn't seem like much just makes life a lot easier. Tell it to give it to you the way you need it, because that's the way it's accepted in the platforms that I use anyway. I use Buzzsprout and then separated by commas. So a note on that too is also just run that through your own filter of your ideas of things that you want to rank for. You might include some of your own tags, things that you definitely want to make sure you get searched for, but it's such a great tool and such a great time saver. So basically those are the main ways that I use AI in my workflow with managing podcasts. Let me know if you've got any questions. You can send me a DM at Livy Music Media on Instagram. So it's LIVVI Music Media, all no spaces or underscores or anything. And I would love to hear from you. And like I said, there's a download with all these prompts that you can get using straight away. So head to the show notes for that and let me know what you want to know more about for next time. See ya.
I am here and I'm ready to be brave. Cannot miss me, I'll stand on every stage. I'm available for my destiny to reach my people. Gonna be a star, so if you pass on me.
Hello, it's Livy here. Have you ever wondered about what the key elements are that make a podcast truly stand out? Or maybe you're thinking about starting your own special podcast and feel a bit overwhelmed and don't know where to start? Well, I have something for you. Introducing the ultimate podcast checklist. Da, 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 da. It's a step-by-step guide that covers everything from the initial brainstorming to advanced growth strategies. It's the perfect companion for both new and seasoned podcasters. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Da, 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 da.
To grab your copy, simply head to the show notes of this episode and you will find a direct link there, and then away you go. Remember, every podcast started with that initial spark and the right resource, so let the ultimate podcasting checklist be yours.